Neurons are the building blocks of our nervous system, and they play a crucial role in how we think, feel, and interact with the world around us. Imagine them as tiny messengers, constantly communicating with each other to relay information throughout our bodies. Each neuron is a specialized cell designed to transmit signals, and they do this through a fascinating process. At the core of a neuron is the cell body, which contains the nucleus. This is where all the vital functions of the neuron take place. Extending from the cell body are dendrites, which look like branches on a tree. These dendrites receive signals from other neurons, acting like antennas that pick up incoming messages. When a neuron receives enough stimulation, it generates an electrical impulse known as an action potential. This is where the magic happens. The action potential travels down a long, thin extension called the axon. Think of the axon as a highway for electrical signals. It can be quite long, sometimes stretching over a meter in larger animals. To speed up the transmission of these signals, many axons are covered in a fatty substance called myelin. Myelin acts like insulation on a wire, allowing the electrical impulses to jump from one node to the next, making communication faster and more efficient. When the action potential reaches the end of the axon, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters, which are chemical messengers. These neurotransmitters cross the synapse, the tiny gap between neurons, and bind to receptors on the next neuron. This process is crucial for transmitting signals throughout the nervous system, whether it's for muscle movement, sensory perception, or even complex thoughts. There are different types of neurons, each with its own unique role. Sensory neurons carry information from our senses to the brain, allowing us to perceive the world. Motor neurons send signals from the brain to our muscles, enabling movement. Interneurons, on the other hand, act as connectors, processing information and facilitating communication between sensory and motor neurons. Neurons are not just passive transmitters. They are dynamic and adaptable. They can change their connections and strengthen or weaken their signals based on experience. This ability, known as neuroplasticity, is what allows us to learn and remember. It's fascinating to think that every time you learn something new, your neurons are busy forming new connections and pathways. The health of our neurons is vital for overall brain function. Factors like stress, diet, and exercise can influence neuronal health. For instance, regular physical activity has been shown to promote the growth of new neurons in a process called neurogenesis. This is why staying active is so important for maintaining cognitive function as we age. In summary, neurons are remarkable cells that form the foundation of our nervous system. They communicate through electrical impulses and chemical signals, enabling everything from basic reflexes to complex thoughts. Understanding how neurons work not only sheds light on the intricacies of our brain, but also highlights the importance of taking care of our neural health. So, the next time you think about your brain, remember the incredible world of neurons working tirelessly behind the scenes, making it all possible.
Neurons are the fundamental building blocks of our nervous system, and understanding their structure is like unlocking the secrets of communication within our bodies. Picture a neuron as a tiny, intricate machine designed to transmit information at lightning speed. At the core of this machine is the cell body, or Soma. This is where the nucleus resides, housing our genetic material and controlling the cell's activities. Think of it as the command center, orchestrating everything that happens within the neuron. From here, the neuron extends its reach with branches called dendrites. These dendrites are like antennas, receiving signals from other neurons. They're covered in tiny receptors that pick up neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that facilitate communication between neurons. Once a signal is received, it travels down the neuron through a long, slender projection known as the axon. The axon is like a highway for electrical impulses, allowing information to travel quickly over long distances. But here's where it gets really interesting. Many axons are wrapped in a fatty substance called myelin. This myelin sheath acts as insulation, speeding up the transmission of signals. Imagine it as a protective layer, ensuring that the electrical impulses don't get lost along the way. At the end of the axon, we find the axon terminals. These are the final stop for the electrical signal, where it gets converted back into a chemical message. When the signal reaches the axon terminals, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters into the synapse, the tiny gap between neurons. This is where the magic happens. These neurotransmitters cross the synapse and bind to the receptors on the dendrites of the next neuron, continuing the chain of communication. Neurons also come in various shapes and sizes, each tailored to their specific roles. For example, sensory neurons transmit information from our senses to the brain, while motor neurons carry signals from the brain to our muscles. Interneurons, on the other hand, act as connectors between sensory and motor neurons, processing information and coordinating responses. What's fascinating is that neurons can form complex networks, creating intricate pathways for information flow. This network is what allows us to think, feel, and respond to our environment. The brain alone contains billions of neurons, each forming thousands of connections, leading to an astonishing level of complexity and capability. In essence, the structure of neurons is not just about their individual components. It's about how they work together to create the symphony of signals that govern our thoughts, movements, and emotions. Understanding this structure gives us insight into the very essence of what makes us human, revealing the incredible design behind our nervous system.
Neurons are the building blocks of our nervous system, and they come in various types, each with unique roles that are crucial for how we function. Let's dive into the fascinating world of neurons and explore the three main types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. First up, sensory neurons. Imagine these as the messengers of the body, constantly gathering information from our environment. They pick up signals from our senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, and transmit that information to the central nervous system. For instance, when you touch something hot, sensory neurons in your skin send a rapid signal to your brain, alerting you to the danger. This process happens in a split second, showcasing how vital these neurons are for our survival. Next, we have motor neurons. Think of them as the action-oriented neurons. Once your brain processes the information received from sensory neurons, motor neurons kick in to execute a response. They carry signals from the central nervous system to your muscles and glands. For example, if you see a ball coming your way, your brain sends a signal through motor neurons to your arm muscles, allowing you to catch it. This connection between sensory input and motor output is what enables us to interact with the world around us. Now let's talk about interneurons. These are the middlemen, the connectors that facilitate communication between sensory and motor neurons. They reside entirely within the central nervous system and play a crucial role in processing information. Interneurons help to integrate sensory input and coordinate motor output. They are responsible for reflex actions, like when you touch something sharp and instantly pull your hand away. This rapid response is made possible by interneurons, which form a quick circuit that bypasses the brain for immediate action. Interestingly, interneurons also contribute to complex functions like learning and memory. They help form the neural networks that allow us to process and store information, making them essential for higher cognitive functions. In summary, sensory neurons gather information, motor neurons execute actions, and interneurons connect the two, creating a seamless flow of communication within our nervous system. Each type of neuron plays a vital role in how we perceive and interact with the world, highlighting the incredible complexity of our nervous system. Understanding these types of neurons not only sheds light on how our bodies work, but also emphasizes the intricate design of our biology. It's a remarkable system that keeps us alive and functioning every single day.